Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here in studio. Derek Kobel coming up here in just a moment. Right Way, PA. We're going to talk about public adjusting, the insurance industry. Of course, a lot going on in that space. More coming up with them in just a minute. I want to give a quick shout out to Patriot Mobile. If you are still using on some of these other companies, they call them woke mobile, but we want you reaching out to Patriot Mobile. PatriotMobile.com/consumer QB is where you can support the show and support a great company, mobilizing freedom. It's America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. Consumer QB is your code for activation. And before we do, a couple of hot listings here. We like to feature our real estate listings live on air. It's part of our strategy that helps our sellers sell faster for more money with Keller Williams Realty here in Tampa Bay. We've got a hot real estate listing here at 13906 Bardmore Place. This is a Tampa Carrollwood beautiful property here. It's an attached townhome that has completely remodeled. Just a gorgeous property here with lighter colors. Beautiful property at 13906 Bardmore Place, Unit B. 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath. 2-car garage, 2,100 square feet, hurricane impact windows throughout. You got a brand new kitchen that's been updated, stainless steel appliances, oversized enclosed air conditioning lanai as well, ceramic tile, 5-person jacuzzi, and it's a great view there. You have a golf course view at Bardmore Place in the heart of Tampa Bay and Carrollwood, one of the hottest neighborhoods in the area. Great opportunity for a real estate purchase there. Let's look at 11722 County Road 672. This is a commercial property / residential. Could be seen as both ways. It's kind of a unique property offering here. We've got 20 acres of land. This property has a single-family home, 40-foot by 100-foot warehouse, ample storage for your farming needs. Currently operating as a farm. You have citrus trees, palm trees as well. 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. 11722 County Road 672 in Riverview. And you can see all of our real estate listings at platinumcoastalelite.com.
This is God's country.
All right, Derek Kobel, welcome back, sir.
It's great to see you again.
Likewise, man. Likewise. So the insurance industry, man, a lot of misconceptions out there, a lot of consumer advocacy to be done in that space. What do you hear most out there? What kind of questions do you get?
A lot of the questions that we get is really, what's a public adjuster? I can explain it to someone so many times, but they really don't understand the concept of it. When most of the time when people have it, an insurance claim, their first instinct is to call a restoration contractor to help them repair their property, or at least protect it from further damage, and then call their insurance company.
Okay.
So the most questions that we get are, how does a public adjuster get paid? What is a public adjuster? And trying to navigate through those questions can be challenging when people have never even heard the term before.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a challenge.
So you're like the consumer's advocate, right? On the insurance space, there's a claim. The insurance company is going to have their own professionals, and you come in and you help the actual homeowner.
Absolutely. So we pretty much represent the homeowner and think of the insurance companies being backed by the government. Mm-hmm. So we're fighting the insurance companies, but we're really fighting the government on ensuring that the homeowner is getting the right monies for the repairs. But we're really fighting against the government, especially when it comes to flood claims. Flood claims, you're dealing directly with the federal government, and they don't even recognize public adjusters, so that can be challenging, especially for us to get our fees paid for. Absolutely. So,
wow.
We have a couple insurance companies coming into the state. I don't know if they're active. I did have a name of one that's not active, I don't believe, as of April. But we are starting to get some insurance companies back into the state, which is great.
Yeah, that'll be good. We need more choices. We need more options as consumers because, over the last couple of years, we've seen one after the other kind of bite the dust, so to speak, like I think it was a Queen song, right? Another one bites the dust. Mm-hmm. We've seen that happen over and over. These companies come in, and there was a lot of fraud. I mean, that on their talking point is like, yeah, we had so much fraud. We had people coming in and they would door knock homes and say, oh, well, we can get you a new roof. All you have to do is, did you see some of that in your
yeah, absolutely. Pay, all you got to do is pay your deductible. A lot of these guys will go around, knock on doors. A hailstorm will come through and they'll say, hey, we can get you a new roof. Your roof is 15 years old or 20 years old. We can definitely get you a new roof for your insurance. Just because your roof is old doesn't mean there's damage up there. So you got to go up there, do a proper inspection. If there is damage from a storm that came through, then yes, that's a legitimate claim. But for the most part, yeah, if these contractors with the AOBs, the assignment of benefits, they have attorneys, so to speak. They have attorneys and other entities that assist them. So when they get the homeowners involved and, hey, we can file a claim, all you got to do is pay your deductible, get you a new roof, and they go down a process. A lot of statistics that I saw, 9% of all claims in North America are in Florida. And out of that 9%, 79-80% of it is litigation cases. So you can see where the massive problem is when it comes to that. Most of the time when the small percentage of cases that I have that have to go litigation are just mostly based off of the insurance companies just not willing to pay. They're not, the adjusters that we deal with and that I speak to don't have authority. Right. So when the adjuster wants to send someone out to your property and say, hey, Brandon, we're going to send out a field adjuster, that field adjuster has zero authority, none at all. And that desk adjuster who sends them out has very limited authority. So really, as a public adjuster, we're representing the homeowner, but we're dealing with somebody who has very limited authority to pay your claim. So if you're really owed $200,000, that adjuster may only have the ability to provide $120 or whatever the case is. So in order to move up to the next step, if we can't get to a supervisor or a new adjuster, we have to move to an appraisal process. And if they don't have appraisal, if it's not available, we have to get an attorney involved. So sometimes there are cases where that is needed, which makes obviously the insurance claim process last a little longer, which could be time consuming and frustrating for the homeowner. But at the end of the day, it is in the homeowner's best interest because we are fighting the government.
Right, and it's going to last longer and it's going to be more expensive in the long run because now you're adding attorney's fees into the equation.
Right, and that was one way attorney's fees were, I'm not an attorney, so I can't really speak on that. But for the most part, I know that the attorney's fees definitely did change. That law did change this year, so more money would be coming out of the homeowner's pocket. Yeah. Now,
as the homeowner, you would have to front money to be able to pay the attorney to go and seek that result or that compensation, essentially. And the way it used to be is they would take it on a contingency basis and they would pretty much know, oh, well, we're going to get some type of a relief here for you. And they would count on that. So now I don't like that. I don't like that change. I'm a consumer advocate. I want consumers to win. But, and that's one of the knocks that I keep hearing about DeSantis, one of the few, because he's done a great job as far as lockdowns go and taking on Disney. I love what he's done. But essentially this one is one that's, I don't know. Something had to change, though, right? I mean, the industry was messed up. Insurance companies are leaving the state in droves, so something had to change, right?
Yeah, something absolutely had to change. And now Citizens holds most of the policies in Florida, which is not how it's supposed to be. So Citizens are going to start relieving some of those policies over to other insurance companies as long as we don't get any more storms, which isn't the best for our business as public adjusters, but at the same time it's great for the insurance industry, which there is another storm out there. I believe that's supposed to hit us tonight or tomorrow. Yeah. It's in the Gulf right now. So one of the statistics, and again, people look online as to, anyone that's doing research online, one of the stats that I saw was so wrong. And It said that 46 or 48% of homeowners have a detailed list of their personal property in the case of a catastrophic loss or event. Mm-hmm. Out of all the cases I've had, not one of my clients have ever had anywhere near even a list of 5 items that they knew they had to go off memory. So wow. We really don't know what's truthful looking on the internet. So you definitely. Yeah.
Oh, with stats. I mean, the way the stats come out. I mean, you look at our government with the FDA, the CDC, and some of these. I call it Centers for Deception and Control. If you go to the current CDC website, where's my notes on that? I heard this on Charlie Kirk's show. It says on the CDC website. So you talk about trust in government, right? It says on the CDC current guidance on there says that men can breastfeed. So how much are we going to believe these when it comes to stats, that gets confusing, right? It confuses people.
Who's giving the stat?
Yeah, where's the information come from? Who paid for the study? I had a stats class in college, and that's essentially what you find out. You got to try to dig deeper and figure it out. But I would say a quick solution for that is just go around your home with your photos and take some or your camera and take some photos, take some video, and then if you want to, of course you can put it into a spreadsheet, but at least that way you have something backed up on the cloud.
Photos and pre-loss is very important. One of the reasons that insurance companies deny claims is pre-existing damage, especially some of the clients that I have down from Hurricane Ian still have not been paid on their contents, personal property over a year later. And because the flood washed away some of their personal property and they didn't have any of that documented, they can't prove that they owned it. And even people, when they say, yeah, one of my clients had a Turkish rug and a lamp they bought from Italy 10 years ago that was thousands of dollars, that they can't prove because they never had photos of it. They never have receipts from it. So having that information is crucial.
Wow. Yeah. If you just joined us, folks, we're talking with Derek Kobel here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Right Way PA is his company. He's a public adjuster. So when it comes to, these different insurance claims, talking about it, you had thrown out a term earlier, AOB. Can you describe what that is, assignment of benefits, and what to be cautious of there?
Yeah, so you shouldn't see too many of those now, but an assignment of benefits is a contract that a contractor or vendor would come out, have the homeowner sign saying, hey, we'll represent you in your claims process. We're going to do the work for you. But you're really assigning all your rights away to that contractor. So when the claim settles, they're technically entitled to that money, where in reality, as a public adjuster, we try to avoid that. Contractors are great. Vendors are great. Restoration companies are great. But they're tools. They're not meant to lead you through the claims process. That's what a public adjuster is for. So having a public adjuster on your side to ensure that you are receiving the money, so then you know how to spend that money and you know what your budget is, versus a contractor determining that for you is crucial. The AOBs and avoiding those will prevent that confusion and alleviate you losing off all that money as a homeowner.
Yeah, and I think they changed the rule on that, right? You can't have that.
They're illegal now. They should be, yes.
Yeah, they should be. Yeah.
You should not see them.
Yeah, exactly.
But I have seen a couple of contracts over the last few months where they don't say assignment of benefits on them, but the contract is written as if they are still entitled to that money. So you really want to read the contracts. Call a public adjuster. You can call me. Even if you don't hire me, you can call me. I'll review whatever you guys need to review, regardless if I'm involved or not, to make sure that you're not.
Reach out to the show. We'd put you in touch with Derek directly. 727-263-3707. Call or text 727-263-3707. 3707, and all of our expert contributors are available online at consumerqb.com. consumerqb.com, your number one resource for all consumer advocacy here. And we always talk about supporting the local economy by supporting the Consumer Quarterback Show, and over 50 show partners now associated with our program, 10 years on air, proven model, and we can definitely get you that great advice that you need. Let's take a quick break. We're going to come back more with Derek on the other side of this break. And it's interesting, you said 9% of all claims are out of Florida, and about 80% of those are litigation. I've heard that stat before. It's pretty crazy. So we're going to explore this area more with Derek coming up here on the show. And make sure you follow us online. We'd love to connect with you at Brandon Rhymes1 on Instagram, Twitter, at CQB Show as well on Instagram for the Consumer Quarterback Show page. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, Brandon Rhymes Realty. We'll be right back here. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you've been listening to the phenomenal Brandon Rhymes, the Consumer Quarterback Show.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider who shares your values. They offer the very best nationwide coverage on 4G and 5G LTE networks and exceptional 100% US-based customer support. Patriot Mobile offers discounts for veterans and first responders, NRA members, and families with multiple lines. Learn more at patriotmobile.com/consumer QB. That's patriotmobile.com/consumer QB. Or if you'd like to give us a call, you can reach out at 727-263-3707. That's 727-263-3707, and we'd be happy to tell you more about Patriot Mobile. Selling commercial, vacant land, or residential properties? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. You can reach me at 727-263-3707. Call or text 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. Quick shout out to our friends at Replenish IV Solutions, longtime friends of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Say hello to Stephen and Lisa Gunnan over at Replenish IV Solutions. I love going in there once a month or so, and I get my vitamin infusion right into my bloodstream. So I'm getting all the B's and the C's, all the good stuff there, and boosting my immunity. ReplenishIVSolutions.com. Make sure you let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. By the way, that's the election year variant could be coming out. They say, so get that Replenish IV solution. Couple of hot listings here from the Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty, one of the top, the number one real estate company on the planet. If you look at the stats, it's pretty staggering. 1 in 4 transactions across the globe is done by a real estate, involves a Keller Williams realtor. And in Tampa Bay, that's, of course, very similar as well. If you look at the transaction volume. A couple of hot listings here from the Platinum MVP team. 9731 San Vincent Way is another Pasco property. This is Pasco County. Completely renovated property here. The owner is motivated. You have a whole house remodel, top to bottom, down to the studs. New roof, high impact windows, new AC, new air ducts. All electrical components are new, as well as a hot water heater and new appliances. 9731 San Vincent Way, Port Richey, Florida. Another one of our real estate listings from the Platinum MVP team. All right, we got 7202 US Highway 301 South in Riverview. This is a commercial property. So we do list vacant land, commercial properties, of course, residential properties as well. This one's a unique opportunity. You've got a corner lot location, about 50,000 vehicles a day passing by in this commercial, premium corner lot commercial property. You've got 2 buildings. One of the buildings is operating currently as a barber shop, but that could easily be a real estate, mortgage, title, insurance company. And then next door on the same property in this transaction is a muffler shop, brake tune-up shop, a mechanic shop. 7202 US Highway 301 South in Riverview. And you can see all of our real estate listings at PlatinumCoastalElite.com. All right, Derek. We're talking with Derek Kobel here, Right Way Public Adjusting here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. A lot of misconceptions around your industry, and we talked about the litigation as well, and I think that's kind of what led us here is with a lot of the changes. And it's pretty dangerous when you have one company, kind of the catch-all, like we have in the state of Florida. Challenging times.
Yeah, it's definitely challenging when we have very limited insurance companies for people to choose from, and even with Citizens, my sister just bought a house in Largo, and she had a Citizens policy, and the policy she was provided had a $10,000 limit of water damage. So if she ever has, that doesn't include wind. So if wind causes damage to your roof and then water comes in, that's still considered wind damage, not water. But if your refrigerator line breaks, you have some type of toilet overflow, then that is, you're limited to only $10,000, and a lot of policies have that. So something that a lot of people don't do, especially with their agents, is review their policy, know what's in their policy and what they're covered for and what's not.
That's a good point. And you hit on a good topic, too, is you got to have these different riders these days. You mentioned wind versus flood because there's 2 different things, right? We're talking about rising water as an event versus a wind event that causes the water intrusion from a sense.
Absolutely. And then sometimes in some cases, especially during a hurricane, you have both. You have a wind and a flood claim, and the insurance company for your wind policy will fight against your flood, stating, hey, who really caused this damage? Did the flood cause this damage? Did the wind cause this damage? And then you really got to find the fine line where if there's damage to the roof, water came in and flood came up from the ground, where does that flood stop and where does the water from the wind begin and what's covered under what? So, for example, a homeowner's insurance policy, let's say your roof comes off and your upper cabinets are damaged in your kitchen, technically you are owed a kitchen base cabinets that match your upper cabinets, if we can make that argument, if there's damage to sustain or to justify that repair. For flood, if flood damages your base cabinets, they do not cover to match the upper cabinets, so you're only entitled to the base cabinet. So there's differences like that most people don't know. So when you're fighting your insurance claim with your insurance company, you should know really what's covered and what's not. And most people don't know that.
Yeah, absolutely. And have copies of that, again, kind of document everything there, stored on the cloud. you can get to a safe place and you can access your your email accounts from there. So that's a safe way to do it, and make sure you are checking those out. Business owners too. Another area is this cybersecurity these days, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity. You got to be really careful. We talk with Michael MD about that. He's our tech expert on the Consumer Quarterback Show. But yeah, insurance is it can make or break you, and if you don't have a policy, you have a fire, boom, now you're looking at a bankruptcy. I mean, in a lot of cases, it's an area that I think a lot of people overlook, and then it's too late. Once the storm hits, it's too late.
It's too late, and fires are the most devastating events that can happen to a home or business owner. Although they are the second most common, fire and lightning, the first is wind and hail, storm. Fire and lightning are the second most common, but they are the most devastating, and those claims are very not common, but they're as a firefighter paramedic, I worked a lot of fires, and I heard my lieutenant say to a homeowner once, you need to call a restoration company. Mm-hmm. That's one of the best but worst advices you can give someone, because that restoration contractor is going to come in, they're going to do what they're supposed to do, which is prevent your property from being damaged further, which is a mitigation expense as a homeowner you're supposed to incur, but it's reimbursable. But they don't always document the damages before they remove everything from your home. Okay. So you want to make sure that if you don't know what you're doing or how to guide the restoration company or those contractors to document properly, you need to make sure you have a public adjuster or somebody there who's telling them, hey, look, you guys only need to remove this amount of material, the wet, non-salvageable. Make sure you take photos of before, during, and after. That way you can paint a whole picture for the insurance company, because sometimes the property's cleaned up before the insurance company can even do their inspection. So then they say, well, what was damaged? Right. How was it damaged? How bad was it? Most people can't answer those questions without documentation. If these companies come in and clean the house before. Yeah.
Man, that's another consumer tip there from Derek Kobel, Right Way PA. And we also work with, in the same kind of a thought process here, the same situation. Brandon Faust, Mold Solutions is his company, and he comes in and he can, help you with some of that as well.
And mold's great too. So most people have coverage for mold. So that's a separate coverage. About $10,000 of coverage is average. Some people have an endorsement for $50,000. But if someone needs to come in and mold remediation needs to happen, so if someone comes in, tests for mold and finds mold, and they need to remove some of that mold, remediate some of that mold, you do have coverage for that separately above and beyond your policy limit. So that's something else as well.
Right. Yeah. And be careful too, you folks. You can't. Someone can't just visually look at something and say that's mold. Right. Right. It has to literally be taken a sample, sent off to a lab, and then tested. Then and only then they can actually say what type of mold, if it was mold. Because if not, it might just be, what's the technical term, gunk, right? Coming into your air conditioning system or whatever. Right.
And again, when you call your insurance company, if you do have mold, do not file a claim for mold. Mold doesn't just show up. Mold shows up because of moisture. So there's obviously a leak somewhere that is causing that mold. Water damage is covered. Mold is not, unless it was caused by water. So if someone just sees mold and calls, there's big bold letters in your policy that says we do not cover mold. Wow. So people see that and they say, oh, this isn't covered. Well, hold on. What's going on behind that wall? What's going on beneath those cabinets?
Yeah,
so.
yeah. If you have that water pan, that's what typically happens, right? The AC's upstairs, the water pan leaks or it overflows and it's running down a baseboard somewhere, and now it's in the floor, and you got to peel the baseboards back to find it, and hasn't been there for weeks, right? That's the challenge you have. Derek Kobel, how do you want people to connect with you, my friend?
My phone number, I always answer. My phone number is 561-951-7968. Or email Derek@rightwaypa.com.
Derek@rightwaypa.com. DEREK.
Yes, sir.
All right, at rightwaypa.com. All right, good stuff, man. Hey, those are some good topics there. We covered a lot in that interview, so you got to be smart around these areas. This, especially insurances and public adjusting. Know who's on your side. Derek will fight for you. He's on your side, so that's why we like him here as an expert contributor on the QB Show. All right, hey, another great show. We talked with Mark Hay, financial advisor extraordinaire, on the program, as well as Derek, and we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community, and we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.